Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine you're maybe thinking about a career change, something hands-on, maybe with animals, and the idea of being a kennel assistant pops up.
Yeah,
Sounds great, right? All those furry faces. But what does the job really involve, like day to day? And what kind of questions would they even ask you in an interview?
that's such a good point. The picture in our heads isn't always the full story of the actual work.
Exactly. So for this deep dive, you've actually brought something super helpful. It's a 2025 interview guide from WorkBread, specifically for aspiring kennel assistants.
That's right.
Think of it like a cheat sheet. We're not just going to list questions. We'll dig into the why behind them, so you can really nail it. Our mission today, break down what interviewers are really looking for, give you that insider view.
hmm And it's pretty thorough. We'll cover the usual interview questions, yeah, but also things like researching the company beforehand and even some of those like curveball questions they might throw at you.
Oh yeah, those can really catch you off guard. Right. So if you've ever wondered, what it takes to land that kennel assistant job, or maybe you're just curious about animal care interviews in general, you're in the right place. Let's dive in.
Okay.
So just to give a quick overview, we're going to hit a lot of key stuff, like handling conflicts with coworkers,
Yep.
your past experience, obviously, how you handle giving medication that sounds important,
Very.
teamwork, solving problems on the fly, talking to colleagues and pet owners, showing some initiative, juggling tasks.
Busy role.
Totally. Recognizing if an animal is sick or stressed, quick thinking, knowing about different diets, any training you have, safety stuff, cleaning procedures. Wow, okay.
There's a lot to it,
Customer service, maybe knowing specific breeds, your role in the team, prioritizing, being efficient, working together, and going that extra mile.
too. Sounds like a comprehensive guide.
It does, but we'll break it down. Let's start with something basic to pretty much any job, getting along with colleagues.
Absolutely. Workplace disagreements, they happen, right? And in a kennel, things can get busy, stressful sometimes.
Yeah.
Knowing how to handle conflicts is, well, vital.
So the guide points out a common question. How do you handle conflicts or disagreements with colleagues? What are they really digging for there?
Well, it's more than just, solving the argument. They want to see if you can stay calm, be respectful, focus on the problem, not the person.
Right.
And the guide says proposing solutions is key. Ultimately, they need to know your main focus, like everyone else's, is the animal's well-being. Conflict can impact that.
So it's about professionalism and keeping the animals safe.
Exactly. Unresolved stuff. Bad for safety, bad for morale. Your approach really matters.
And they give a good example, like if you disagree on a care routine,
Yeah.
suggesting a time to actually sit down and talk it through, share perspectives.
That's a great example.
Yeah.
Shows maturity, right?
Yeah.
And it's proactive.
Yeah, it's not about winning the argument.
No, it's about finding the best way forward for that animal. It shows you're collaborative.
Makes sense. Okay, shifting gears a bit to something very specific to this job, your previous experience.
Ah, yes. Obvious one, but important. They need to know you've got some foundation.
So a typical question is, can you describe your previous experience working in a kennel or animal care facility? What's the best way to tackle that?
Well, fundamentally, they're trying to gauge your hands-on experience, the actual skills you've picked up.
So mention specific roles, skills.
Definitely. Talk about roles, skills you used. The guide highlights practical things, feeding, grooming, exercising animals, but maybe even more crucial, sure you can read animal behavior.
Ah, okay. So it's not just a task list.
No, not at all.
It's showing you are actually observing the animals, understanding them.
Precisely. Were you engaged? Did you get their needs?
The guide's example is good. Volunteering at a shelter, helping a shy dog.
Yeah, that shows patience understanding things you absolutely need with animals, especially anxious ones.
Totally. Okay, let's move into something a bit more technical, administering medication.
Right. This one's big on responsibility. Attention to detail.
So they might ask, how do you handle administering medication to animals?
And it's not just about following orders. It's about an animal's health, maybe even their life. Accuracy is everything, so they really focus on your process.
What are they listening for in the answer?
That you understand different meds, the importance of the right dose. Can you handle animals gently but securely?
Yeah, gentle restraint, the guide mentions.
Right, not to scare them, but to make sure the medication actually goes in properly. And, crucially, keeping meticulous records. When, what, how much.
Document everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the animal's record.
I like the guide's point about treating it like giving meds to your own pet.
Yeah, it brings home that personal responsibility, doesn't it?
It does. Now, kennels are busy places. You're usually part of the team, right?
Almost always. It's rarely a one-person show. So that question,
Okay.
how do you ensure effective communication and collaboration with your team members? That tells them a lot about how you'll fit in.
So what makes a strong answer there?
Open communication, obviously. The guide points that out. Mentioning regular check-ins, sharing info, coordinating tasks.
Being willing to delegate, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Shows
Okay.
you get how to work efficiently, support the team.
The example of checking in during a busy shift, making sure tasks are covered, that's very practical.
It is. Shows you're thinking about the whole team's flow, not just your own little bubble.
Right. Now, animals, they can be unpredictable. Things don't always go to plan.
No, tell me about it. Problem solving is just essential in animal care.
Hmm.
So you might get asked, can you provide an example of a challenging situation you faced and how you handled it?
What are they trying to learn with that one?
It's not just if you can solve problems, but also your empathy, how you communicate under pressure.
Okay.
So when you answer, pick a specific time. Say how you figured out why an animal was distressed, what you did to comfort it, and this is key, how you talked to your team about it, what was happening, what you did.
The example, they used a stressed dog during kennel outings.
Yeah.
And the person took extra time, got colleagues involved too. That really shows initiative and teamwork.
Exactly. Spot the problem, act appropriately, bring others in. Good stuff.
Now, it's not just animals you deal with. It's their owners too.
Well, absolutely crucial. Building that trust with owners is huge. For the animal's sake and the owner's peace of mind.
So a question like, can you describe a time when you had to explain an animal care procedure to a customer? Seems pretty likely.
Very likely.
What are the key things for a good answer?
Clear communication, definitely.
Yeah.
And empathy. Show how you explained things simply, how you reassured them if they were worried.
Gave detailed instructions, maybe.
Yes. Anticipated their questions, perhaps. The example of explaining grooming to an anxious owner. Perfect. Shows you get their concerns and can address them.
So building on that, they might ask more generally about communication with owners.
Makes sense. Like, what steps do you take to ensure clear and effective communication with pet owners? Another important one.
And what should you focus on there?
The guide highlights active listening, really hearing them, using simple language, no jargon, and following up afterwards.
That follow-up seems key.
It really shows you care.
Right.
Like the example, explaining feeding or grooming step by step, then checking in later, shows real commitment to keeping them informed and comfortable.
Nice. Okay, initiative always looks good, right?
Always. Employers love people who think creatively, find ways to make things better.
So the question, can you provide an example of a creative solution you implemented to improve animal care, is looking for that.
Exactly, that proactive thinking.
So what should you highlight in your answer?
Focus on a specific time you saw a need. Maybe something wasn't efficient or an animal's need wasn't quite being met.
Okay.
Then describe your solution, how you came up with it, and importantly, the positive result for the animals.
The quiet zone example for anxious dogs during loud times is great.
Yeah, identifies a problem, thoughtful solution, clear benefit. That's what they want to hear.
Makes sense. Now, in a busy kennel, you're probably juggling a lot.
Constantly. So, how do you manage multiple customer requests or concerns at the same time? That question tests how you handle that pace.
What's the key to answer?
Explain your process. How do you figure out what's most urgent? How do you prioritize? How do you communicate with people to manage expectations?
While still staying attentive.
Exactly. Showing you can keep your cool and provide good service even when things are hectic.
The example of acknowledging a waiting owner while dealing with a barking, stressed dog, that really shows prioritizing on the spot.
Quick assessment, clear action. That's the reality sometimes.
Now, a really core skill. Spotting when an animal isn't well.
Absolutely fundamental. Critical for their well-being. So, what are the key signs of stress or illness in animals that you look for? Expect that one.
What kind of signs should you mention?
Both physical stuff like being sluggish, changes in appetite, grooming habits maybe,
Okay.
and also behavioral changes, withdrawing, becoming aggressive, that kind of thing. And don't forget basic vitals if you know how: temperature, breathing, gum color, tell you a lot.
So it's being observant of both body and behavior.
Spot on. And sometimes, even with the best care, unexpected stuff happens.
Right. Emergencies or sudden problems.
That's where thinking fast and acting decisively comes in. So they might ask, can you describe a time when you had to think quickly to solve an unexpected problem?
How should you structure that answer?
The guide says, describe the problem clearly, Explain your quick solution right then and what the outcome was.
Mentioning teamwork helps too.
Definitely. And showing you stayed calm under pressure.
The power outage example is good organizing to keep dogs cool, shows quick, responsible thinking.
Exactly. Thinking on your feet.
Another basic but vital area, nutrition.
Huge. Different animals, different needs, just like people. So, what dietary needs do you consider when feeding different types of animals? That tests your knowledge here.
What should you cover?
Definitely species specifics, like dogs needing different protein levels than cats. Mentioning special needs too, like low sugar for diabetic pet.
In adjusting portions.
Yes. Based on age, breed,
Yeah.
how active they are. It's not just one size fits all.
Shows you understand it's about individual care, not just filling bowls.
Precisely.
Now, qualifications and training, always good to mention.
For sure. Employers will likely ask, what certifications or training do you have related to animal care?
So, list specific certs.
Yeah, if you have them, like a level 2 certificate or maybe certified vet assistant, but also mention practical experience, volunteering, clinic work.
Feels like first aid too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Basic pet first aid, CPR, anything relevant that shows you've taken initiative to learn.
Demonstrates you're serious about developing the right skills.
Mhm.
And really, the core of the job is keeping the animals safe and well right.
That's the bottom line. So how do you ensure the safety and well-being of animals in your care? That's a big one.
What's key in the answer?
Emphasize regular health checks, spotting problems early, maintaining a super clean, safe environment. Sanitizing is huge.
And providing the right food and water.
Exactly. Following dietary plans strictly, always fresh water. It's about being consistently proactive.
But sometimes issues do come up, despite best efforts.
Yep. Health issues, behavior problems, that's where troubleshooting comes in. They might ask, how do you approach troubleshooting issues that arise in animal care?
What's a good process to describe?
The guide suggests, first, accurately ID the problem, observe, recognize symptoms, then implement solutions, maybe basic first aid if you're trained. And always communicate. Talk to the team, report to the vet.
Identify, act within your limits, communicate. Clear steps.
Exactly.
Interviewers will also want specifics about your past duties.
Makes sense. What specific duties did you perform in your previous roles related to animal care? Lets them see your actual hands-on experience.
So be detailed.
Yeah. Mention regular tasks, feeding schedules, cleaning routines, highlight your handling experience, restraint techniques, giving meds if you did that, paint a clear picture.
Got it. And what about helping new people on the team?
Good point. Teamwork matters. So they might ask, how do you support new team members in getting acclimated?
What shows you're a supportive colleague?
The guides suggest talking about giving clear instructions, explaining routines, offering ongoing help like checking in, asking if they have questions.
Creating a welcoming vibe.
Yeah, fostering an inclusive atmosphere where people feel comfortable asking for help. Shows you're a team player.
Okay, let's talk cleaning. Not glamorous, but
Absolutely vital. Preventing illness spread, keeping everyone healthy. So can you explain the proper procedure for cleaning and disinfecting animal enclosures?
walk them through the steps.
Exactly. Remove animal and belongings safely. Scrub surfaces, get rid of organic stuff first. Use a vet-approved disinfectant, follow the instructions. Rinse really well. Let it dry completely before the animal goes back.
Mention safety gear too, like gloves.
Crucial. Emphasize using PPE for your own safety and hygiene. Shows you understand proper protocols.
Right, now, unhappy customers. It happens.
It does,
Yeah.
in almost any job dealing with the public. So, how do you handle a situation where a customer is unhappy with the care their pet received? That tests your customer service and conflict skills.
What should you emphasize in your answer?
Active listening. Let them talk. Acknowledge their concerns. Take responsibility. Apologize sincerely for the issue or inconvenience. Then explain how you'd investigate and try to make things right.
So empathy, responsibility, and finding a solution.
That's the goal. Show commitment to resolving things and keeping customers satisfied.
We touched on breeds earlier. Knowing about specific ones can be a plus.
Definitely. Different breeds, different needs, temperaments, exercise levels. So they might ask, have you ever worked with a specific breed or type of animal? If so, which ones?
What should you highlight?
Mention specific breeds you know and show you understand their particular needs, like managing high-energy dogs or knowing certain breeds need more social time.
Shows broader knowledge beyond just generic dog or cat.
Right. Shows you appreciate the variety.
And finally, how you see yourself in a team.
Yeah. What role do you typically take on in a team setting? Helps them gauge your adaptability, your style.
So emphasize flexibility.
Yeah. Show you can lead if needed, but also support others. Value collaboration, open communication.
Highlight that collaborative spirit.
hmm Willingness to adapt.
Okay, the guide also covers some more general interview questions, the ones you might get anyway.
Yep, the standards. Still really important to prep for, though. Like, what are your biggest strengths?
How to answer that for this role.
Tailor it. Think attention to detail, working well with animals, communication, reliability, flexibility, and definitely passion for animal care.
Good list. What about handling multiple responsibilities?
They're checking your organization, time management, how you handle pressure, how do you prioritize, give specific examples if you can, even if not from animal care.
And the dreaded mistake question.
Yes. Have you ever made a mistake?
Mm.
How did you handle it? It's not a trap. They want honesty, accountability.
Evidence you learn from things.
Exactly. Talk about a real mistake, how you owned it, fixed it, and what you learned.
Okay, and what motivates you?
Connect it to the role. Show your genuine passion for animals, your desire to give great care, make a positive difference.
Makes sense. And then at the end, they usually ask if you have questions.
Yes, always have questions. Shows you're interested, prepared. Ask about day-to-day tasks, the team, company culture. Thoughtful questions.
Absolutely. Now, before you even get there, research. The guide has tips on researching the company.
Super important. First stop, their website. Look at mission, values, culture, any info on their kennel or animal care department, blog posts.
Dig deep. Don't just skim.
Right. Take notes. Try to really get their approach to animal welfare.
Good advice. What about social media?
Yeah, check LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. See their public image, how they interact with people, any current projects. Might give you something to mention.
And online reviews, like Glassdoor.
Can be useful. See what employees say, especially in similar roles. Maybe check animal care forums too. But, take reviews with a grain of salt. They can be biased.
True. Okay, finally. Those curveball questions. The weird ones.
Yeah. They're usually testing creativity, how you think on your feet when surprised. Often no single right answer. It's about your thought process.
Like, if you could be any animal.
The guide suggests connecting the animal's traits to the job. Like, a dog for loyalty and teamwork relates to being a reliable team member.
Smart. What about if you were a superhero, what power?
Again, link it back. The guide's example is great. Being able to talk to animals shows how your power would directly help in the role.
Dinner with a historical figure.
Shows your interests, values. Picking someone like Jane Goodall and linking her dedication to animal welfare to your own goals, that works well.
Stranded on a desert island, 3 items.
Tests, problem solving, resourcefulness. Maybe include something animal care related, like a first aid kit or an animal ID guide. Shows consistent focus.
Clever. Last one. Live in any fictional universe.
Taps into imagination. Choosing Dr. Doolittle's world, because you can talk to animals, shows a creative link back to the job.
It's all about relating it back somehow.
Often, yeah. Shows you're thinking about the role even with weird questions.
Okay, last practical bit. What to wear.
Key is professional but practical. Clean, wrinkle-free, neutral colors are safe bets. Comfortable, closed-toe shoes are a must.
Because it can be physical work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Minimal jewelry, good hygiene, layers are smart. Aim for smart casual, maybe a blouse or shirt with smart trousers, or a knee-length skirt. Not too casual, like t-shirts. Appropriate for potentially active work.
Got it. Okay, we have really covered a lot from this guide. What are the main takeaways for someone listening?
Yeah, we went through a ton. From specific questions and how to answer them, to researching, to curveballs. You should have a much better feel now for the skills and qualities employers want.
It's not just loving animals, is it?
No, that's essential. But they also need practical skills, people skills, professionalism.
Yeah.
It's a real job with real responsibilities.
Absolutely. And, this deep dive wasn't just about Kennel Assistant interviews. It kind of highlights the importance of really preparing for any job interview, understanding what the role actually demands.
Exactly. Taking time to understand the specifics, tailoring your approach, that's valuable anywhere.
So here's a final thought. Whether this specific career is for you or not, think about those core qualities we kept seeing. Empathy, clear communication, problem solving, passion.
They really are universal keys, aren't they?
They really are. So what other specific interview guides or career resources might actually hold broader lessons about what truly matters in almost any profession? Something to maybe explore further.